All right, y'all. Now this one's going to get weird, so you're going to have to stay with me on it. We are going to be doing a diptych. Now that means we are doing 2 drawings, okay? And they are part of the same theme or overall drawing. Now, the way that we're going to do that is you're going to want to be able to see both of your drawings at the same time. So I'm going to show you a way of setting this up kind of without being able to measure with a ruler, because I'm just not sure what materials you have at home. I didn't put a ruler on my list, but we all have 1-inch masking tape, right? So I'm going to start by putting a 1-inch border on all sides of my paper. Now, if you've got your drawing board, you can just adhere it right to your drawing board, right? Like that's going to be really helpful because then it's just going to stay on there and be easier to transport to and from class. I'm using my back of my drawing pad as my drawing board right now because mine's in the studio. But what I'm going to do is I'm matching my tape up right with the edge of my paper, okay? I'm just going to fold my sides over because I can rip that off later. And I'm going to continue that on all 4 sides. All right. Again, matching it up right with my edge. Wham, bam. Okay. Keeping it going. Keeping it going. Whoop, 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 whoop. Now, masking tape, or painter's tape, masking tape, anything that just doesn't have super, super sticky, because you don't want it to, like, rip your paper, okay? And if you're off a little bit, you're off a little bit, but really just try to be as close as possible. Okay. Now, once I have all of my edges down, okay, this is where we're going to start kind of measuring using our tape. All right. I'm going to want you to find the center of your paper as close as possible. And I'm going to want you to do a straight piece of tape right down it. All right. Right through it. Now, we're going to kind of double up our masking tape. Now you can make a little bit of an edge. You can make a little bit of an edge. You can see I'm gonna obviously move my scraps around when I'm cutting them. This is gonna be the most tape that you use. This is just me trying to creatively problem solve the fact that we might not have rulers, and a quick and efficient way of making sure that our drawing paper can be effectively used, all right? Because what's happening is you're gonna treat each section, section 1 and section 2, like a separate drawing, okay? But I want you to be able to work them up at the same time. So you're gonna keep them both on your drawing board and visually kind of be able to work on both of them. So again, doubling up a little bit. Okay. Now, do I want to make that center part a little bit thicker? I think I do. I think it'll be beneficial. So I'm gonna kind of, no, you know what? We're gonna leave it like that. I think that's really exciting as far as the composition. All right, and then what you would do, all right, pretend that this is my drawing board, because now I've got this well-taped piece of paper, but it's not adhered to anything. So once your edges are secured, 2 on all your sides and 1 straight through the middle, 2 on all sides, 1 straight through the middle, right? Right. You can just take a piece of tape and adhere it to your drawing board on all 4 sides, okay? I'm going to adhere it to my table, and then I'll probably remove it and just keep kind of working because this is kind of a functioning table, so to speak. But what you would do is you would just tape it a little bit on all sides, just so it's nice and adhered to your drawing board, okay? Now, I'm gonna pause. We're gonna restart the video so that I can take some pictures, okay? See you in a few moments. It'll feel like seconds to you. See, but you hardly even noticed I was gone. So, this is my surface. It's definitely got some stuff underneath it, so I'm gonna lift it really quickly and get rid of that fine charcoal underneath. Okay. So, what we're gonna be doing is we're going to be doing a diptych, the 2 drawings in 1 drawing, and it's gonna be a zoom. Now I'm gonna start by toning my paper. As always, I got some hot and fresh vine charcoal and my chamois, right? And I'm going to work up, ooh, that sound, right? She loud. We're gonna work up both of my surfaces. And we're gonna work, you see how I'm going right over the edge of the tape? Right over the edge of the tape. And I'm working up both of my surfaces. Both of them are getting treated now because it's still 1 sheet of paper, but we're gonna kind of treat it like it's 2 separate pieces. Now, the reason we're gonna do this project is because during our critique, we talked a lot about how difficult it was to kind of zoom in on our composition. So this assignment's gonna really help with making that kind of abstract mark making that we seem to be struggling with. All right, when I get down to these tiny bits, I'm just gonna use my chamois to scoop them up and push them around the page. Now you can see I'm not worried about where my tape is. I am just going over this whole thing until I get a nice middle gray. Again, on the other side, any small pieces of vine charcoal, I'm just gonna scoop them up. Now, I know we've been doing this a few times, but we're always gonna watch the demo of me doing it because it's just helpful, right? It's just a reminder. Now, because I'm drawing on my table, I'm gonna pick up any grit that's underneath. All right. So now I have both of my canvases prepped, right? Because we're going to think of them as canvas 1 and canvas 2. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a grid on both of them, okay? So you can see I'm doing a rule of 3 grid on each canvas because they're separate pieces, all right? And then what I want you to do is find your object and we're going to zoom in on it, all right? Now my object's gonna be this weird little jawbone, and when we're talking about zooming in on an object, I'm trying to like think of where my camera is. I'm talking about like zooming in on it, okay? Zooming in. Because what it is I want you to do 1 drawing where the object is almost recognizable and 1 drawing where you're so zoomed in that it's not, okay? So I'm going to pick this part right here, and that's what I'm going to draw. And I'm just going to kind of move my object with me a couple of times. Maybe I want to zoom in on the teeth more. This is hard. I'm picking a hard object. I'm picking a hard object for myself. Since you're all rising to the challenge, I'm like, I got to too, right? So let's see. Maybe I'll flip it and I'll do the bottom side. The bottom side seems more interesting. So what I'm doing is I'm going to start mapping in my drawing. And the whole point is to kind of use this to get over our fear of the abstract, okay? We seem to be really nervous about being willing to zoom in on a piece. And maybe this will be my super zoomed in one because I did zoom in very close on this. I'm going to find my little weird indentations. I'm going to start shading. I'm not going to be timid with my negative space here. Now, it doesn't matter which side you're choosing to be your most abstract, like your zoomed in, and your non-zoomed in version, okay? And what I mean by that is, you know, you're gonna kind of see as I'm putting these pieces together a little bit here. Now what it is this piece right here, right, is that peak there. So this is a zoomed in version of this drawing. And that's what I'm talking about. And that's how we're going to kind of get towards these more abstract concepts and pieces, okay? The point of this drawing is to really focus on texture and creating kind of abstract representational pieces, because when you zoom in so much on something that's just so vague and shaped, you end up with these like abstract landscapes almost. And it just creates such a different type of a piece that I think that you're going to really enjoy. I hope you'll really enjoy. I think it's going to be a little challenging, but it helps us to show what abstract mark making is going to do as far as creating textures in these pieces. All right, now I'm also going to have my eraser out, okay? Because I'm just going to be mapping in my shapes. And you can see I'm going to be working really texturally, okay? Because that's my concern, is kind of being abstract and painterly with it. Now at this point, it doesn't really look like anything, and that's kind of part of this drawing process, is like it's not going to look like much, and that you need this image to ground that image. Okay, I'm already having a hard time with it, but I think I'm enjoying it too. It's one of my favorite assignments because what it does is it's hard for us to accept that abstraction can also be related to realism. And I think it's important that we understand that they're parts of the same coin, they're edges of the same sword. And it'll help you to maybe embrace some of your more textural mark making. Okay, that's what I'm hoping. That's the goal, is that you're going to kind of learn how to find a balance between your desire to have something look realistic and your ability to embrace the mark making in your drawings. Okay? And now what's really important too is seeing that I'm not just zooming in, I'm sorry. I'm working on both drawings at the same time, okay? our drawings still come up together. We don't finish one and then work on the other. I don't finish one tooth and work on the other. Everything gets built up at the same time. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to pause this. I'm gonna start a time lapse so you can watch me continue to work, because I am going to be bringing in my compressed charcoal earlier than later, because what I know is I want some of my negative space to be dark. So you're gonna see me work a lot of my tools at the same time. We're going to step it up really quickly. And I am excited to see what we do. I think an organic object is easier to draw. You might find that something easier is something a little bit more representational, maybe a plant, maybe something zoomed in, maybe something with a pattern, a statue, anything really. And we're also going to take pictures so that you can see what I'm talking about when I'm saying zoomed in on an object. Okay? Hang around for that time lapse.